Hello you guys, welcome back to my home. Today is a very fun video. I had a lot of fun prepping for today. This is gonna be a gift guide for the crunchy homesteader grandma. Okay? I didn't know what to name it, but that's what we're going with. So basically it's a gift guide that I would personally love, but I have found from watching different people online that even if you aren't all of those things or like enjoy all of those things, if you enjoy one, you're gonna enjoy elements of others. So like if you are a homesteader and you're like into gardening and all that, you're probably doing it one, either because you want to be healthy, so you're kind of crunchy, or if that's not the reason, you do it because you like the old-fashioned way of living, so you're kind of a grandma. Obviously not everybody is gonna fit into all these categories, but I've just found that if you like one of those things, the hobbies and interests kind of just interconnect and cross over. So we're going with all three categories because it's basically who I am and I can only give advice on what I know and enjoy. So I have 60 things. I've got my list here. And I did link everything down below that I'm going to be mentioning today. So if you see anything that you want or want to remember, it's all linked down below and it should be in order of the way that I mentioned them here. And I did try to find the Amazon links for everything because even if it's a name brand, a lot of times brands sell via Amazon. So I feel like that's just pretty user-friendly across the board. We all have Amazon, so hopefully that makes it helpful for you guys. And let's just get going. So these are in kind of an order. We're starting off very kitchen heavy, which I thought was appropriate because that kind of fits in with homesteader, crunchy, and grandma. So we're starting off with a flour mill. Now, I don't have this one, but this was on my Christmas list this year. I think it's Vivor, but there's also a ton of different brands on Amazon that are kind of similar. So this flour mill is a great, like, budget-friendly option, but there's also ones like the Nutri-Mill is like the one that I feel like everybody talks about, and then there's that wooden one, like the stone ground mill, that's like $400. So if you really want to go ham and get something nice, go with either of those. But if you're wanting a budget-friendly option just to get you started, kind of like I am, then I would recommend this one. It had great reviews. And then to go along with that would be some wheat berries, and I recommend the Ancient Grains wheat berries. They're just certified organic. They're a reputable company so that you know you're getting high quality stuff, and these are the ones that I use, and you can get them on Amazon, which is great. A lot of people already have this one by now, but if you don't, or if the person that you're shopping for doesn't, a sourdough bread making kit is a fabulous gift. I got mine a couple of Christmases ago, and honestly, I could use another one. Like, I already have one, but sometimes if I'm making loaves, like for other people, I want to make a double batch, and so I need double the supplies. So bread kits are great. Also, sometimes they just kind of get gunky and wear out, so a fresh one's always good. Along with that, that's kind of a fun accessory add-on, is these sourdough bags. They're in my shopping cart right now. I just haven't pulled the plug on buying them, but they're only like 10 bucks or something. But they are these little like sourdough bags that look like they're from a bakery. So if you're giving bread to friends and family, I just stick mine in a Ziploc, and it's just not that cute. So I think that these just really elevate it and step it up a notch and make it look even more presentable when you're giving them to people. So I feel like that's just a cute like add-on if you're already kind of going like the bread making route and want to put together like a whole bundle of stuff. That would be very cute. If you're baking bread, you need a Dutch oven. So I have the Amazon Essentials one, and I've used it for years now, and I bake bread like every week or two, and it has held up great. And I definitely recommend, even if they already have a Dutch oven that they like make soups and stuff in, definitely get one for bread making separately if you want to keep your Dutch oven nice, because you are putting it in an oven that's like 500 degrees. It'll just make the outside of your Dutch oven kind of brown and just wear. And so if you're wanting your Dutch oven to look nice like on top of your stovetop, definitely get a separate one for bread making. Alright, there's just a lot of things that can go with bread making. So the next one would be a manual bread slicer. I just think that these are really fun. They're definitely not necessary, which is kind of why it makes a great gift because it's probably something that somebody would want but wouldn't maybe spend their own money on because it's not essential, but it would be a fun tool to have. So if you've seen these, they like mount to the top of your countertop, and then you crank the bread through like this blade, and it just evenly slices all of your bread. Which, if any of you are familiar with sourdough, it's just kind of a pain in the butt to cut. Thankfully, my husband cuts all the bread for us, but when I have to do it, it's a chore, it's a pain, and it's just the worst part about it. And so if you could have like a cute little crank thing that just makes your life easier and it's kind of just fun to have that tool, I think that would be a great gift. But if you want to kind of go a step down and not go so fancy with like a, let's see, how much is it, like a $50 bread slicer, you can go a step down and just get like a really nice wooden bread knife. These are the bow-shaped bread knives, and I just think that they're very fancy and just make you feel like a baker, you know? So again, not an essential. You probably have a bread knife in your drawer, but this one is just very elevated and cute and would make a very sweet gift. Okay, if you're really just wanting to go ham and bless somebody, a KitchenAid mixer. If you are gonna be in the kitchen at all, you don't need a KitchenAid, but man, does it make your life easier. Especially if you're making breads a lot that need to be kneaded. Using that dough hook just saves your arms so much effort, and it saves you so much time. And so just having that, yes, you can use like a hand mixer, and those are great, and I have one of those and use it sometimes, but having a stand mixer just, it makes everything so much easier. On a less expensive note, an apron. An apron would make a great gift because I feel like it's not something that you can ever have enough of necessarily. Like if you have one, it doesn't mean that you can't have two, because sometimes you need to wash them, or sometimes you just want a different pattern or whatever. But it's one of those things where, again, it's not a necessity, and it's maybe not something that somebody would, you know, spend 20 bucks on themselves just to buy an apron, but it's something that they would probably want and kind of feel like fancy and cute while they get to do their baking, whatever, just kind of like an extra special thing. So I would love an apron. I think that there are some very cute ones out there. The ones that I have linked are very like vintage and old-fashioned looking, almost look like little dresses. So I think that would be a very cute gift. And of course, when you're baking and cooking, you need mixing bowls, and I love getting stoneware ones. Extra points if they're actually vintage ones, but you can also find some great ones on Amazon that look kind of vintage or just have like pretty colors and patterns, and I just think that it's fun to kind of transition from like plastic bowls, or like I have some stainless steel ones, but on the outside it's like painted and it's all chipping. So it's good to just have some good quality mixing bowls that won't chip and aren't toxic. So this one would make a great stocking stuffer for anybody that loves to specifically make bread, but really if they just like to bake in general, is bowl covers. I have wanted bowl covers for so long. I had them on my Christmas list for a few years, never got them, thought about making them, tried, but they're kind of hard to make yourself if you're not actually like a sewer. So I still don't have bowl covers. I just use a towel still, which works, but I think it's just good to have like the right tools for what you're using. So like a towel works, but it would just be nice to just have a nice bowl cover that is meant for that, and just added that extra touch of like having the right tools and makes you feel just good about what you're doing. Does that make sense? And I feel like you can find some that are pretty inexpensive, and that would be just like a great add-on gift or stocking stuffer. Alright, these two kind of go together, and it's wooden utensils and wooden cutting boards. I feel like we are all aware of just how horrible plastic utensils are and how they can like flake off into your food, and we just should be past that by now. So getting moved over to wooden or metal, just sometimes metal is bad to use on whatever type of pan you're using, so wooden is just universally a good option. And they're very cute in my opinion. I think that they add like some decor to your kitchen if you have them in like a little crock. And sometimes, you know, cutting boards and stuff wear out and they get dingy, so it's even like a great refresh type of a gift. All right, these next three kind of go together, and that's mason jars, swing top bottles, and weck jars. And I would say in that order of importance. So mason jars, obviously, if you are a gardener and you do canning, you can never have enough jars. Because at least for me, like I'm still in the beginning phases. I've only had a garden a couple years, and we're still in like the wanting to expand our garden type of a phase. And so every year it's like we're gonna be canning more and more. So I'm gonna need more and more jars. And it's just one of those things that it's like you don't wanna buy. Like you want them, but you don't wanna have to keep buying them every year, but you need them. And also, mason jars is just great to store in your pantry, in your bathroom, whatever. They're just great to have. Also, swing top bottles. I use these for all different things. We make our own kombucha at home. We make our own vanilla, and both of those need swing top bottles, but I'm sure that there are a million other things that you could use them for. If you do juicing, you could put them in there. So I feel like that's just a great gift for somebody like a crunchy person or homesteader person that is making that kind of stuff from scratch. And then the last one was weck jars. I personally don't have these, but I know that across like the sourdough community, they are very well loved, and so might just be a good idea to get that for somebody that you know that loves to make sourdough. Just kind of that extra little thing that, yes, they could just use a ball mason jar, but maybe having the fun weck jar would bring them a little joy. All right, this one is for the very crunchy person that really, really, really cares. A Berkey water filter. Now, I don't have one of these, but a friend of ours who is like an expert in the field of holistic nutrition and all that kind of stuff says that Berkey is the best and gets all of the nasty things out of the water that you don't want in there. And so if you really need to be on top of your health, I mean, we all kind of do, but like if you need to even step it up a notch further and really, really care, then Berkey water filter might be something that you want to add to your list. Or if you know somebody that just is really into all that kind of stuff and want to blast their socks off, there you go. All right, this one is on my wish list, and it's a pasta maker. I am so excited. I just can't believe that pasta is made with flour and eggs, and that's it. And so it's like, why are we buying this in a box at the store when you could make it yourself? I mean, I know why. It's time. But I think it would be very fun to make it myself. And so this is on my wish list, and so I thought I would add it on here and give you an idea if you'd never thought about getting one, if you want to add that to your, you know, repertoire of things that you make yourself like I do. Okay, juicing. This is something that is actually so beneficial to your health, and I just hear amazing things about juicing and just what it does for your body. And so this is actually something that I don't know why my husband and I didn't put it on our Christmas list this year. I'm like kicking myself because I just didn't think about it, but we've talked many a times about getting a juicer. The Nama, I think that's how you say it, N-A-M-A, is one that is highly recommended, and I've heard from people that it's like you want to get a good juicer. It's kind of one of those things that you maybe don't want to get the cheaper version. It's just not worth it. Just go for the big dog. But that one is about $500. If you're like me, I tend to like to get the cheaper model that's still good, just to make sure that this is something I'm going to continue to do. And then if it's something that I find I really like, then I'll get the bigger, better, nicer one. So there is this one that I have linked here. You can get it on Amazon, and it's only $89. So definitely more cost effective than $500, but either one of those would be great juicer options if you want to get into that, especially like if you're a New Year's resolution goal person and you want to start juicing in the new year. This would be a very fun thing to add. These next two are kind of fun and cute, a recipe book or a recipe box. You need one of these, and I think we all can agree to some level that we want to get off our phones more. And so something that I've started to do is take all the recipes that I find on Pinterest that I always go back to, and I'm actually writing them down on recipe cards or in my recipe book, so that when I'm cooking and I'm in the kitchen, I can take that time off my phone and not be scrolling looking at the recipe. I can just read it like a normal person off of a piece of paper. And so if you have somebody in your life that loves to cook and is maybe a younger person and doesn't have their own recipe book or box yet, that would be a great one. And then you can get like really cute recipe cards to go with it too. All right, we're still in the kitchen world, but we're kind of veering off to like hobbies and food preservation. So the next one would be a dehydrator. I've wanted to use a dehydrator before, but it's just not been something that I've gotten into yet. I've been doing a lot of other things, and I tend to just add like one little thing at a time to not overwhelm myself. So I haven't gotten to the dehydrator yet, but would love to one day. And my husband just barely got into hunting this year, and my brother-in-law was saying if you get a dehydrator, you can make your own venison jerky. And I'm like, that sounds like something I need to do. So maybe next year I'll need to add this to my own personal list, but it's definitely a great way to preserve food. You can do like fruit strips or like dried apples or whatever. Just make great little snacks, and that's a way to preserve your food. In addition to that, freeze dryers. Those have become crazy big, especially over the last year. People are finding that that is actually like the most beneficial way to preserve food as far as like keeping all of the nutrients in there. I have not gotten into this yet, one, because they're like thousands and thousands of dollars. So again, this might be like a group gift that you get for somebody, or that somebody gets for you, or like if you're getting married or something and you need something on your registry. You know, this is kind of a more extravagant gift. I have limited to say on that, but I just know from like that community of gardeners and stuff, people are really enjoying those. Again, gardening, food preservation, you need a water bath canner. That is like level 1. If you are a gardener and you're wanting to save your food, you need a water bath canner. Pressure canner would be the next one. I have not dove into that yet because I'm scared, but I know that I'm gonna need to do that because there are a lot of things I want to can that I just can't with a water bath canner, because certain things, depending on like the acidity level, you have to do water bath or you have to do pressure canning. And so I'm gonna have to do it one day. I've just got to get over my little fear of that. But if you're into that, definitely add that to your list. All right, another kitchen item that is just a clean swap is your cookie sheets, getting a stainless steel one rather than the aluminum one. I think everybody has aluminum cookie sheets in their kitchen. Get rid of them and just get a nice clean stainless steel one. Ceramic is also good too, but even ceramic can chip that ceramic coating. So stainless steel is like solid stainless steel. Nothing's gonna chip off. So that's a great clean swap. All right, one more for the food preservation is a vacuum seal food saver. This is great, again, if you're gardening, making things that you want to freeze and store for long periods of time. Food savers are great. Again, this is more so like I just see it from kind of that community that they all really like them. I personally have not dove into this yet, but I'm sure one day I will. It's all just a matter of time. We're getting into strictly gardening. This garden bed, these are the ones that I actually have in my backyard, and I have 3 of them. I've had the first one for close to 3 years now, so they've held up great. I plan on getting 3 more, and so I definitely recommend these ones. And these are great if you have somebody that is really wanting to start gardening. It can be very overwhelming when you want to get started, just because you have to buy the bed, you got to get the compost, you got to buy the dirt and buy the garden starts, and it can just be a little bit overwhelming. So if you can kind of help somebody get started, they just need that little push to get going. Even if they just start with 1 garden bed, that's what I did, and you can actually get quite the many things in 1 garden bed. So definitely recommend. A great stocking stuffer would be garden gloves, whether you have an amateur gardener or somebody that's gardened for 40 years. You always need new garden gloves because they wear out, they get holes in them, they get gunky and dirty, and it's just good to have a fresh one. So that's a great stocking stuffer. And then another fun one along with gardening would be a seed starting kit. I actually need to get myself some of these because I'm really gonna get into seed starting this year. I kind of dabbled in it last year, learned a lot, and now I'm ready to go hard for it this year, so I really should have put this on my Christmas list. I didn't do a great job thinking of these things for myself, but so in addition to that, Also a great stocking stuffer would be these seed saving envelopes. I have purchased these. I've posted about them before. They're the ones I use and they are great. They're super pretty, which is awesome, but there's also like a ton of useful like line items to fill out about the seeds, so it's actually very practical as well. But I think that having them be so cute is really beneficial, because if you want to like give these away as gifts in the future, I know it's a gift for yourself to do the envelopes, but it's a fun activity to like fill them and give them away as well, like for Mother's Day or different, like, I don't know, if you're having a girl's day, you can like fill them with little flower seeds that you've saved. I don't know, just a thought. In addition to flowers, a flower press. I have a different type of flower preservation on my Christmas list. I want to do like the resin. I should have added that to this list, but like the resin molds I really want to do, but I would also love to get into doing the flower presses. I love growing wildflowers in my backyard, and so I'm sure that a lot of you do too, or even just saving some from bouquets that you get from the store. That also works. And so pressing them is just a great way to preserve them, and then you can decorate with them. I love it. Kind of a bougie gift for the gardener in your life would be hunter boots. And I know that those are expensive, so you definitely don't have to do hunter boots, but again, that's one of those things where you probably wouldn't want to spend that money on yourself. So if you want to do that for somebody else or you want to ask for it, hunter boots are great, but any sort of like rain boot, muck boot is definitely needed when working in a garden, especially in the early spring when it's kind of sloppy outside, but you need to go out there and get some work done. It's nice to have a good set of rubber boots. This one you can kind of personalize to whoever you're giving a gift to, or again, if this is for yourself to give you ideas, whatever hobbies you have, hobby books. So again, like I said, I think we all kind of want to get off of our phone to some extent or another, some of us more than others. And finding little books rather than like searching online and doing research, do research in a book. So whether you want to do beekeeping or you want to get into sewing or crocheting or knitting or canning, recipe books, like whatever kind of hobby that you're into, ask for books on that. So for me, I have crochet books on my wish list because I want to crochet some like 90s sweaters. So I found some like old 90s crochet pattern books, and I think that that'll just be really fun to learn from. Get our eyes off the screen and get our hands busy and working on stuff. So again, you can make that very customizable. There's books on absolutely any hobby, woodworking, leather making, wildflower fields, like anything you can find, and it would be fun if you got them like a book with some supplies that go with it too. So the options are endless. Alright, this is a hobby that I just got into not too long ago, and that is candle making. So if you have somebody that wants to do that and is trying to get rid of like the toxic chemicals out of their life but still want the ambiance of a candle or the smell of a candle making kit would be great. So you can find ones with the wicks, with the pitcher. So the one that I have linked here is kind of just the bare minimum, but I've found that that's kind of all you need. Sometimes with those kits, they give you so many tools and supplies that it's kind of overwhelming and you end up just like donating it anyways. So I found one that kind of just has the things that you really need. You need the wicks, you need the wick stickers, you need the pitcher, but that's kind of really all you need. And then you'll also need your beeswax pellets, so I have a link for that as well. Just make sure that it says 100% beeswax. But if you have somebody that wants the beeswax candles because, again, they want to get rid of the toxic stuff out of their life, but maybe they don't want to actually make them, they're not like the crafty type, then just buy them the beeswax candles already made. There are tea light options, taper options, pillar options. You can find all different ones, and that would just make a very beautiful gift. Alright, as you can tell, we're moving into hobbies. We've already begun our hobbies. So the next one is kind of specific, maybe for that grandma friend of yours, and that's a crochet hook holder. You can also buy yarn. I didn't put that on the list just because there's so many options of yarn, but if you kind of know their style, know what colors they might like, maybe you can pick them out some yarn or like a Hobby Lobby gift card or whatever. I'm getting off track, but a crochet hook holder, or if they do knitting, a knitting needle. yeah, knitting needle holder. If you have any thrifter friends in your life, these lead testing kits, I actually really need to buy one of these because I've never tested anything that I've thrifted for lead. And now that I'm seeing that stuff coming up online, I'm like, ooh, I bet you I have stuff in my house that probably has lead on it, and I don't really know what that means. Like, does it just come off? Like, I don't know. I haven't really researched it, but I'm seeing everybody using these testing kits. So if you have a friend that really likes to shop like vintage, secondhand thrift store, definitely get these. And they're very cheap, so again, great stocking stuffer. Right, I think everybody loves a good piece of jewelry, but especially somebody that is a little bit more crunchy and wants good quality stuff that's touching their skin. Gold jewelry would be great. Earrings, rings, bracelets. You can find all kinds of dainty little things that are very timeless and go with a ton of people's styles. So that's kind of universal, and you can pick out for your specific person. So I don't have a link for that, but just gold jewelry. And then same kind of situation as a natural fiber sweater. So, you know, cotton, wool, cashmere, whatever. I know that everybody is really loving quints because their price point is very inexpensive for the quality of the item. I personally have never tried quints. I thrift like all of my sweaters. So if you can find somebody a thrifted sweater, great. But if you want to buy them a brand new one, that would be a very lovely gift, and I'm sure anyone would love that. Kind of in the same vein is cotton socks, also cotton underwear. I didn't link any for you. I feel like people have very specific preferences on that, but these cotton socks are very cute and trendy with like the little, you know, they're not a crew sock, they're shorter. I don't know what they're called, but those are great. I've purchased these and they've held up very well. Again, great stocking stuffer to have. The more you get older, the more like the practical things, like socks and underwear, are very exciting actually. All right, this is for that grandma friend in your life that loves grandma core style, and that is Quilted Accessories. I would personally love any of these. The one that I have linked here is from Amazon. This is a quilted jacket, but if you really want to go ham and, you know, spend a little extra money or ask for something that's a little bit more bougie, you can find some beautiful handmade quilt jackets that are actually made from quilts. There's some people on Instagram that you can find that have their own website, but you can also check them out on Etsy. And they're gonna be well over $100. Some of them I've seen like $600. So it's kind of like insane. But I mean, to each their own. Some people have the money to spend on that. If that's you, great. If not, you can find the Amazon one. I'm more so in that budget. But one day maybe I'll make one, and maybe we'll have to figure that out together. But also quilted bags. This one is actually on my wish list. This one's from Moon Nude. I've just seen them on Instagram for years, and so that's on my Christmas wish list. But there's also like, you know, the classic Vera Bradley that's coming back into style. So any like little quilted accessory basically. So there's like pencil pouches, makeup bags, laptop sleeves, jackets, bags, whatever, you name it. All very cute and probably well accepted by that grandma friend in your life. All right, one more on the accessories for the grandma friend is a vintage watch. Now, you can find some actual vintage ones. If you're just shopping at local thrift stores and stuff, that would be amazing. But if you're not really into that kind of a hunt, you can find some really great like vintage inspired ones on Amazon. The one I have linked here, this like whole shop has some really great beautiful options, and I have purchased one of these before for one of my sisters, and the quality seems to be pretty good. She was also able to adjust the watch herself, which is great because sometimes you have to take those into a jeweler, which can just be like, you know, just an extra errand that you don't really want to run. And so she was able to actually do that herself, which is just a plus in my opinion. We're working our way through, guys. I feel like I'm talking very fast. Heatless curls. So if you have somebody that's really trying to protect their hair and not use heat on it, heatless curls. I recommend the ones from the Effortless shop. These are the ones that I have, and they're the ones that I would recommend because they're very specific about the material that they use, like inside of them. So they're very cushiony. I've seen people online that use heatless curls where it's like all of the cushion is in like one spot, and then like they have this huge tail of like just material because it's just kind of gotten all messed up and you can tell it's really cheap. These are very, very good quality. They always say that it's like sleeping on your pillow. Again, for that crunchy friend in your life, cotton pajamas would just be a really lovely gift to get for Christmas. You can find all different kinds on Amazon. There's a lot of really, really cute ones, so I just have one pair linked here, but you can find all different kinds. All right, this next one, we're gonna have mixed opinions about, and that's fine. But it is for that crunchy friend in your life that really is trying to get rid of toxic things. I have not personally tried these, but I have wanted to, okay? Reusable menstrual pads. Now, to each their own. You would probably have to be very close with this friend and they would want to have asked for this. But if this is for you and you want to like ask your mom for this, you know, that's an idea too. But I personally would really want to try these because I just hear all the kinds of problems that people have in that area and hormonally and things like that, and all of those types of products like feminine pads with fragrances on them and just toxic materials and chemicals that you are putting in a very sensitive area. I just think that we need to do better. So there's an option for you. All right, this next one is blue light blocking light bulbs. And this would be for like the little lamps in your house. So once the sun kind of starts to go down, you can turn on these types of light bulbs rather than like your LED overhead ones. And it's just supposed to help you kind of wind down and kind of help your like, oh, what's that called? What's like the system in your body that like wakes up and shuts down? What is that called? Oh, your circadian rhythm. It's supposed to help your circadian rhythm. That's what it's called. This one's kind of boring, but if you have somebody that's really into health, they would find it exciting. And that's a shower head water filter. Now, I didn't link any of these because I personally haven't done all of the research on this, and there are some that are definitely scams and don't do anything. So this is more just an idea, and then I would just recommend really, really doing some good research to find a good one. That's even a great gift for somebody that maybe just got a new house or whatever, but that can really affect like your hair, and then it's affecting your skin whether you realize it or not. This one was on my Christmas wish list this year, and that's a vibration plate. I've been seeing these all over Instagram, and they're supposed to help with your like lymphatic drainage, and people lose like 6 pounds and whatever. But I just think it would be fun to try. They're a little bit more expensive, so might be a good gift to ask for. All right, this next one, again, is kind of just like an idea. I have these. Have I noticed a difference? No. That's grounding sheets. So people think they're a hoax. I kind of think that maybe they're a hoax. I just don't really understand what's going on. But other holistic people really swear by them. So it's kind of just like an idea, and I'm just throwing it out there. I don't necessarily recommend, but if it's something that you've been thinking about, we have grounding sheets on our bed. I haven't noticed a difference of any kind, but again, just an idea, throwing it out there. All right, these next two go together, and that's castor oil and a castor oil pack. These two things are very common among the holistic world, the crunchy world, and castor oil is actually very, very amazing. It can penetrate super deep into your skin, so when you do it like a castor oil pack, you put it on your right side, I believe, and it cleanses your liver. You can also just put it right on front, and it can help with your digestive system. It can help with cramps, like menstrual cramps. You can also put castor oil packs on different areas of your body, like if you have cancer, it can actually like break down lumps or tumors or different things like that. Even like scar tissue and bone spurs. Like, it's really crazy just the stories that people have of how castor oil has helped. So that's a great option. So kind of in that same vein would be essential oils. So I really like to use the Revive essential oils. This would be a great stocking stuffer if people already have a diffuser, or even if they like to do things, make things with different essential oils. Like I've made like hair mists before. if you want to add this in with like the candle making kit. That's what I put in my candles to make them smell good. Revive is a really great brand because it's very inexpensive. They literally compare themselves to Young Living and doTERRA, which are like the multi-level marketing brands of essential oils, and I love them too. Those are great, but they're definitely very expensive. So Revive is just a great alternative if you don't have that kind of money to spend on essential oils. I also love their hair oil. That would be a great gift if you have someone that's really into taking care of their hair. Like a hair oil with the effortless curls would be a great gift. I use that especially around the fronts of my hair. I tend to get these like bald spots where like my baby hairs just won't grow, and they've been this long my entire life and won't grow. So I've started using that hair serum on there, but I'm just very inconsistent with it. I need to be better. But I also love to use it when I do like blowouts on my hair, because my hair is naturally very curly. I will, when my hair is damp, I'll run that hair oil through my hair and then I'll blow it out, and it just helps like tame the frizz. A great stocking stuffer would be a gua sha. I love using my gua sha. It feels so good, and if you're consistent with it, you really can see results. All right, this one's on my Christmas wish list, and it's one of those light therapy tools. It has like the red light, the green light, and the yellow light, and people like go up their face and their neck with it. I don't know, kind of bougie, kind of not necessary, but I think it would be really fun to try out. In the same vein, a red light therapy mask. I probably won't dive into that too much, but I know that a lot of people use them and really like them. This one I asked for to be put in my stocking, and that is mouth tape. I really want to get into mouth taping. I've just heard so many great things about it and how it's changed like people's jawline, how it really helps like open up your sinuses, which is actually like a really like a health property. Like that's important. So I've just heard really great things about mouth taping. And then last but not least, a tallow lotion of some sort. The one I have linked here is somebody that I've followed on Instagram a long time. She was actually the first person I ever heard talk about tallow. So I guess I'm a little bit biased to that, but I know that there are so many brands nowadays that use tallow, and people have had great skin responses to tallow. So that's just a great little idea. Again, something that somebody may not want to spend that money on themselves, but it would just be a luxury to have for Christmas, especially at wintertime when your skin's really dry. It'd be nice to have a good lotion. All right, that is everything on my gift guide for the crunchy homesteader grandma in your life. I hope that you found this helpful. Maybe it'll give you some ideas to put on your Christmas wish list, or if you have somebody like that in your life, maybe some ideas to get for them. So I will wish you guys a Merry Christmas, happy shopping and gift giving. Just remember that the reason for the season is for Jesus Christ, our Savior, coming down and living his life so that he could give it up for us so that we could be saved and live with him forever. Just have to throw that in there because that is way more important than gifts. But thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. We do basically everything in this list is like the epitome of what this channel is. It is gardening, it is homemaking, homesteading, healthy living, baking foods from scratch, home decorating, crocheting, everything like that. So if that's what you're into, then definitely subscribe because you would love it around here. All right, I'll see you guys in my next one.